Good afternoon, everybody. I know it feels an hour earlier, so congratulations if you've remembered. If not, I'll see you later, but it won't be live. Okay, what are we doing today then? I've got 2 tiles for tile 172. Glenys, you're here. Thank you for remembering. At least I did as well. I did have an alarm on though. Okay, I've just got a bit of tape across, so I'm holding them together. Hi Chris, and I look 2 tiles, and ta-da, I've put a bit of ink around it as well. So nothing too tricky. You don't have to have that. You can use 2 different tile colours if you want. But I'm just going to play about with it a little bit. I wanted to do something a bit longer. We've not done a double tile for a while, so I thought today was the day. Okay, good news as well. The stair lift has been added to the building today, so that means everybody can get up the stairs now, even you, Mum. Okay, just putting that out there. So what else do I have? I'm going to keep it simple today. Black pen, maybe a bit of white. So I've got my micron. I've got my, I've got a confession look. You see that? It's got pastel on. But you see that? I wrote white on it. I knew it was going to go wrong. But ideally, you can get your fire look and you can just clean it off as though it didn't matter. It never happened. See? There you go. And I've got my regular pencil. And of course, I've got my white chalky pastel pencil. Look, it's the other way around. There we go. Thank God. So I'm going to have them on the shop as soon as I can. Hopefully this weekend, so I'll get them sorted. So okay, here we go then. I'm going to go in first with pencil. We're going to sketch a few things out first, and then we're going to add a few tangled bits and pieces in there. So are you ready? Okay. Here we are. I'm going to go a little bit larger, and I'm going to focus, tell you where I'm going to focus sort of here. So a little bit higher up, just so you get the idea. That's where I'm going to be. So if I put a little pencil mark in, I don't know, maybe sort of just about halfway in that tile, but like just coming over a bit here. Okay? So let's bring this in. All right, there's those 2 dots I've just put in. That might be useful for you to do that. You've got somewhere to work to. And I'm going to create a bit of a shape. It's quite a large teardrop, which is why I wanted to bring in the pencil to start with. So you see, it starts as a point, and then it gets to be a bit of a curve at the bottom. Okay? And then the same this side. Now, it's a little bit thinner, but that's okay. There we go. So, you know, if you feel you've got to make a few amendments, that's fine. Come in and do it. That's why we're using pencil. Okay. Oh my goodness, 8 a.m. in the morning, Bonnie. You go, girl. I'm ever so glad you're up. Have you actually seen on the Tangle U website? I don't know if you're familiar with it. I'm going to be doing a Zoom class using the To the Moon and Back kit. I don't know if you've seen it. I think I've posted it on Facebook sometimes because the price is in dollars, because of course they are American. Depending on where I am, because obviously, you know, one has booked a holiday, I might actually be in America, but maybe not, don't know. So, okay, happy with that, I like that. Now, if yours is a little bit fatter than mine, then you're going to put an aura on the inside, but being that mine is a little bit thinner, and I've got plenty of space, I'm going to create an aura around the outside. Okay, I'm just going to turn it as I go, because I want to try and recreate that sort of teardroppy shape. Now, if you want to, you can change the shape. You could do a heart, you could do a circle, an oval would look quite nice with a longer tile. But the choice is yours, it's entirely up to you. See, I'm just sort of curving that so I get it so it suits my needs there. Okay. So far, so good. All right. And again, I'm going to do one on the inside here. There we go. So again, just a bit of an aura in there. This is all going to help for a little bit later. There we go. Okay. So far, so good. That's the hardest bit. It really is. Again, I'm going to stick with pencil. So for now, I'm going to create a little bit of a curve into there. and I'm going to follow it round. See, it's going underneath, and then I'm going to come around here, create another, and back down. Okay. All right. So I'm going to focus on this bit here. Let's bring it in a bit so you can see it. There you go. I'm going to create a bit of a curved line there. Then maybe somebody else can answer that in a minute, because I've got a little bit when you're using hairspray, but I can't see the rest of it unless I faff with my camera. I'll come back and I'll answer it if nobody does later. Okay, so you see there, I've got that kind of shape. So that's coming down and in and around here. Okay. So again, working this side now, I've got this curve. I'm going to follow this curve around. You see, just bring it a bit down like that. And then create a line going along here till I join there. Okay. Let's just add a little curve in there as well. And then coming to the bottom. So again, you see here, I'm going to sort of start about here, bring it all the way down to there. And then again here, and all the way in to there. Okay. Who says we couldn't draw a ribbon? Okay. So let's have a look now. Next little bit. I think at this point I'm going to come in with a pen. So here we go to my timer. Yeah, my 02. And I'm going to start with something sort of around here. Let's have a look now. I'm going to put in a bubble. There we go. All right. And I'm going to aura that bubble with bubbles. Okay. There we go. So far so good. I think I've picked the pace up a little because covering 2 tiles is a little bit quick. We need a little bit more time. Okay, and I'm going to go a bit larger now so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. And I'm going to create a little loop. So it's sort of like that teardrop shape we've just done on the top. And then let's do the same here. And then of course, one here, and one here. And then we should get a couple in between, maybe 3, depending how sort of wide your little loops are. There we go, so you can get 2 in. But of course, if you can only get 3, you can get 3 in or only 1, that's fine, it's your design. But it's nice to have a little bit of freedom, isn't it, to choose and not have to think it's got to be exact match. Oh, Catherine, next classes. We've literally yesterday we finished packing for Create and Craft. We've come in today. I've got a few bits and pieces to do. I've got to sort out the next show, things like that, and we've obviously have to have a bit of a tidy up. So Monday we're going to have a look at the diaries and we're going to work out what other classes we're going to do. They're not just going to be classes here, which is great if you could all come, but of course we're going to plan in some Zoom ones as well, so you've got the best of both worlds. So that's definitely going to be next week's job. Okay, so there we go, we've got 1 in there. I'm going to put 1 down here as well. Now, you see we've got this ribbon shape. It's a choice thing here because I'm going to put another bubble in there. Joy, I'm next on the 20th. And I've got an early morning one, I know that. It's a 7:30 show to start with. And yeah. Now, here we go. You see where I've got my... I'm actually going to pretend it's going underneath there. But on this one, if it goes over, I'm just going to It's just so you can see where it's working in, which is why we've done that. So I'll just fit that ribbon in pencil first, just so we've got a choice really of where you want it to go. There we are. Okay. And then in we go. It seems as though things are starting to arrive now. That's really good news. And of course, tile swaps are on the way. I know there's one going to Ireland that's going to get posted today. But other than that, I think all of them are out. And yeah, can't wait for you to see what you've got. Okay, so you see where that one's gone underneath my ribbon there. Let's balance that out. I'm going to have one here, but I think before I go any further, I'm going to add a little droplet to the top, and then I'm going to fill the outside shape there with bubbles. It's a bit of a bubble fest today. Just take your time with them. Try and keep them sort of round rather than squishy. It just means you have to do them a little slower maybe. It's kind of nice. This one actually, those of you that came to the classes last weekend, now you're all confident and you can go larger. You could do this on a larger piece. I dare you. That'd be fabulous. And you see, I can't do any around there because see my ribbons come over the top of it there. But there's a couple I can fit in there. Okay, and same here. Imagine doing this to the same size we did the feather. That'd be lovely. But, entirely up to you. And for this one, I am going to keep it monochrome today, so I'm just going to shade with pencil. But I do have a sample with this where I've coloured the centre section in, so I'll show you that in a short while. Richard. I know, Richard, some people like grids, so I have to try and balance this a little bit. I'm going to put this bit of ribbon in here. There we go. So you're just sort of joining it through. Okay. And then I'm going to put another one of these large bubbles. See, it's going underneath. And then we did a row of little bubbles. Again, it's just sitting inside there. You're not going to see anything this side. And then, of course, I'm going to just turn it slightly because then my 12 o'clock droplet sort of ends up in a different place. So here I've got to imagine it's going to be about there. So you're going to get some of that there. Okay. Well, Lisa, good point. Yeah, I mean, I'd like to bring larger tiles. I think I've just got to work out the size, the proportion. Because, I know some of us would rather have larger and some find the smaller tiles a little bit difficult to work with, so I will. And of course the new tile or the new die has got a sort of a square tile shape in there, so maybe that's a little bit of something to look at. This, by the way, is a different colour. This is one of our new colour tiles. It's a very pale blue, sort of slightly blue-grey. So we've got a new set coming. That can wait for another day. Okay, I'm going to put one here. Again, bit of a bubble. And wrapping that round. There we go. Just sort of taking your time with them. Just enjoy them. I know they're easy to do, but give them a little bit of respect. Okay, and in we go. Now again, I've got the decision, do I have it in front of this ribbon or do I have it behind? So I'm going to go in front on this one. And the same again. And then I'm just going to fit in a couple there. And of course, a couple there you can't quite see, but we still know they're there. And there we go, into those two. Chris, always I would suggest the cartridge paper. It just gives you that little bit of bite, and it means you can still draw over it smoothly. But it's, you know, and it's going to take your colour well, so. All right, so a few flowers. We're going to add a few more in just in a little while, but I want to add a couple more bits in there first, I think. So, okay, I'm going to, let's have a look. Am I going to put no. Oh, I don't know if to put my ribbon in yet or not. Now I'm going to come in and put these shapes in here. I'm going to do those two curves while I'm at it. No, Gladys, it's not the same colour blue. This is a different one. This one's called, I think it's called Azure, where the one in the tins was marine blue. Oh no, they all have these names. But the ones in the tins is super smooth. This is the hybrid paper, you know, that's sort of almost in between super smooth and cartridge. Oh, Vicky, that's a tricky one, because I do have tiles that are cream and black. I'll look those out actually. They're quite nice. Okay, so I've got that drawn in. So I'm going to come down here, I think. Let's have a little, so I'm going to go over this ribbon. This is why if in an orange weather we go over the ribbon yet, let's leave it for a bit. Just going to add a little curve and another one next to it, really quite fine. Okay, let's work that way. And then I'm just going to come on up, add a little bobble on the end. The same this side, a little bob. And then I'm going to follow it back down, come up and out, and same again, up and round. Okay, now I know we've done this one before, but it's kind of nice that, let's just take it round again. And it's almost like an aura, but I'm going to take it up to the point. And the same this way, round and up to the point. So then of course you could leave that, but I'm going to come in and fill it with some lines. Just gives it a slightly different feel. Okay. And of course I do like to colour that centre bit in, but I'm going to leave it today. And let's just bring out and add a little curve to the end. Okay. And then let's, I'm going to have another one here. Okay. And along we go. And then along again. Now this one we're going to sort of have to imagine going underneath and along there. Okay, just fill that in. And then as before, around, come to a point. Well, again, around, come to a point. And of course, let's just fill those lines in. And this side. Okay, and again I'm just going to add a little curl to the bottom. Okay, so let's have a look then. Do we need another one? I think I'm going to have another one. Sort of coming around here. Again, keep it nice and narrow. And then along here. Now this time I'm going to go as though it's going underneath the ribbon. It's nice to have that choice, isn't it? So just as before, look, it's going to go under and back round. And then round and back to the point. Same here, you're not going to get much of that, but there's a bit in there. And then fill in the lines. You could always fill this in with bubbles as well. Or you could fill it in quite solid if you wanted to. So this time I'm going to take that curl this way. Bit of difference. Okay, let's have a look at the rest of the piece then. See where we're going to add a few more. Now of course yours is going to be slightly different, because depends where your sort of ribbon came in. Now we've drawn that bit in. I think I'm going to draw this bit in now. And anything else is now going to be sort of behind that ribbon. So it'll sort of give you an idea where the piece is headed. There we go. Round here. And along. Going, just touching that flower edge there. And then along here. And down there. Okay, so I think while I'm just sort of filling in, I'm going to go back and just add that little bit of drama to the inside of those flowers. See where I coloured this one black? I'm going to do the same here and just sort of fill it in. Now of course you can do it in different colours, you can leave it if you want. I think it's nice to have that little bit of depth in there, just to fill it off. Okay, same with this one. Just taking my time. There we go, just little bits there. Same, I've got to sort of imagine where it is underneath there. Of course, if there's not much space, you can make a little bit if you need to. There we are. Oh, you're welcome, Bonnie. Yeah, it's you start with a single line and then work it from there. It worked quite nice. There are instructions for doing the ribbon, I think, in the big dream catcher. So that's a good one to look at. If you've got that, go back and have a look at the pictures. So same again, look, I'm going to bring that leaf shape in and then follow it round. I know you could think, oh, I'm just going to go from there, but I think if you actually follow it, it just gives you that curve, it makes you in that mode. And then along, and again up to the point, and again and up to the point. I'm just going to add in those lines, and again turn your tile, don't try and do this sort of keeping it in one place, just work it round to suit you. And then I think I'm going to go that way with it, so it doesn't matter which way you take that curl. Okay, so let's have another one coming behind. And along and up. There we go. So along and up, and along and up. So I could even put that curl on first if I wanted to. There we are. And along and up. Okay. So let's just bring in those little lines. Okay, it's starting to sort of get a bit of balance now. We're doing sort of diagonally, but we're not ignoring this bit here. So in sort of style of that, let's bring a leaf where we're going to do it. I'm going to bring one here so it looks like it's sort of going in the background there, because you're still going to get some underneath everything. There we are. So I sort of think now what we're going to do with our weekends, being that I haven't got any classes booked. I think it'd be nice to have a lie-in, maybe. My husband's just sniggered over there. For any of you that met Benji, you probably know that a lie-in is not possible. He's like a child every morning on Christmas morning. Although John's never too happy. I think he gets John up in the night a couple of times a night. I think sometimes it's just because they want to go out, just for a sniff of the air. I know, Lynn, what's a lie? Yeah, would be nice. Maybe a lie until 8 o'clock, that would be cool. Okay, let's put my curl on. See, look, all this talking, I'm forgetting to do my curls. Let's bring one down here. See, because we've got this balance, we've still got to bring something down here So it needs a little bit. There we are. Just here we go. And along and round. Same again. And just as before, bring it in and along. There we go. And of course, some little lines. There we are. Same this way. And see, that curve feels like it wants to go that way. So of course, we want to add an extra one in. I'm just going to add a little bit of one here. There we go. And in there, so you might see a bit of that. It's just sort of imagining underneath where things are going to be. And if you're not sure, you could always, do that little bit in pencil and draw it exactly so you know where it's going. See, under here we've got a little bit of a space, so I'm going to just sort of fill it in so it looks like we've got one. See in there? So you're not going to see much more, but we know it's filled. Okay. What about some extra little buds? Let's add a couple of curves in. All right. Oh, Julie, just hang on. They come in. Bit of a bubble. And then same sort of shape as we've done with the flowers. Well, 1, 2, 3, and then 2 on the other side. Okay, that's kind of nice, isn't it? Let's fill in any gaps. And I think we'll just bring in another. See, just underneath there, a bit of a bubble, a bit smaller. 1, 2, 3, and 2 on the other side. Let's have a look at that. Okay, might even go in with another one there, look, little bubble. 1, 2, 3, and 2 and 3 that side. Very nice. So, in style, let's bring it up here. And I'm going to add one. Let's add one in here. Little bubble. Loops 1, 2, and 3. 2 and 3 that side. And let's have another. Little bubble again. There we go. And same that side. Okay, got a couple of things all going on here. So let's add a little bit here. We need something with a bit of length, and I know zingers are coming, bear with. So I'm going to just add quite a bit of a longer curve there. And then I'm going to start at the top here, and I'm going to go quite thin, but it's going to come to nothing there. Okay, let's do one. Same again, but let's see how it goes underneath. Slightly different length. And then, of course, as we go down. Okay, let's bring one in this way. Again, I'm working towards the point. I kind of find it easier to do it that way. So it gives me a specific point, but if you find it easier to do it another way, you can, it's fine. Okay, like that, it's nice, isn't it? Okay, let's have a few coming out here. And of course, you've got to be aware of, the space that you've got. So if you've not got too much space, don't go too long. You see, let's add another one this way. Okay. And then I think I'm going to put another one of those leaves in there. So this is the kind of thing, you're doing it and you think, do you know what needs something else? Then don't think you can't go back and add in a few extra bits if you need to. There we go. And working your way along there. Okay, maybe just a couple of those like little grass type of things going on there. And but a bit of a space here. I've left that on purpose because I think it'll look nice having a few of these long sort of pieces going up there. So they sort of will go in different directions. Okay. So I think, and then maybe just a couple down here. So again, you can shorten them if you need to. Just kind of nice. And then just to keep Julie happy, here we go. Little dot. There we are. But you can't just have one. You've got to have a few. Don't get carried away though. A little length and a blob, see? Let's bring one out here. Just got to sort of balance it out a little bit. Okay. And there's maybe a few sort of hiding amongst that over there. You're welcome, Julie. Do you want? Shall I do another one, like, especially for you? Look. There we go. Underneath there. Okay. So, ribbon. I'm gonna bring a bit of a grid in with the ribbon. I know, Richard, it's not your thing, but just sort of following that curve there, and then sort of take it in a different direction there. Again, it's quite nice if you just fill every other one of those in. We might come back and do that in a minute, but it just redefines the fact that you've got something in there. You see this curve here, so I'll just repeat that. There we go. And as you sort of work your way along, it changes slightly. You see, just as it's sort of starting to go down and round there. And then fill it in from this way. Again, it just gives it a little bit of depth. You know, if you want to just leave it and colour it in as it is, it's fine. See, that's quite more of an organic grid, that, isn't it? It's not very definite, but it's there. And then, of course, just underneath there. Okay. So I'll start there so I get a bit of an idea, because obviously underneath there you're going to lose track of it just a little. There we go. Last bit of a curve. Look. There we go. And along there. Okay. So I think what always looks nice with ribbon is just going to add a couple of little bobbles on it. You see, just a bit of a gap, and they're almost like little dots. And you can sort of go all the way over everything you've done with these. Again, it just helps with the fact that it's ribbon. It looks like a slightly more expensive ribbon. Fishnet tights. Oh gosh. It's a long time since I've even seen a pair of fishnet tights. Okay. See, just these extra little details make all the difference. Okay. Alright, sort of going into nothing now. I'm going to get smaller. And then same on the other side. Okay. So, it's all got past you today that Leslie had brought a cuppa up. I have no idea what it is. Apart from its tea of some description, it could be any flavour. We're systematically trying different ones. It's definitely a green tea. Okay. See how that sort of transforms that? Makes it look a little bit more like ribbon, doesn't it? There we go. Now, see, I'm not going to see anything there because that's in my leaf. So I'm just going to colour in my bobbles where I can see it. Okay, let's have a quick look at that. There we go. So we've got to come in and do something with this, haven't we? I think the nicest sort of thing to do is just going to come in with a pencil, just to give me a bit of a break up. So top and bottom, side to side. Now you see here, I'm just sort of working on the outer frame. Oh, thanks, Leslie. I'm going to split that in two. Okay. And then here I'm going to split that into two, that into two, and that into two. Okay, get the idea? We're just breaking the space so we've got something to work to. Okay. So I'm going to put a bit of a sort of a cross in each one. So don't try and think, oh, it's not the same shape. That's actually better if it's not. Just try and work it from point to point. Just getting these cross shapes in. Okay. So if they don't match the points, not to worry. Just work your way along. See, that's kind of a nice little bit on the top there, isn't it? There we go. And again, just sort of working it along. And you're going to get a little bit of it here because it's underneath there. Okay. And then here, we're going to straight in with the pen on the top there and on the bottom. And then I'm going to do one here and one here. So I've sort of split that section into three. The same here, look, there and there. Oh, Lynn, do you know what? I actually don't know. I'm sure if you look on the Say It With Flowers, the lotus in particular, there'll be a teardrop on that one. Have a look in there. Just thinking as well, what did I do? Was it, Sunday. We did a bit of a teardroppy shape as well. With the mandala. Was that Sunday? I think it was. So let's have a look at where we're at. So at this point, you could come back in and you think, do you know what? I need to do a little bit more, a little bit, rub a few bits out. But I kind of like that. And, you can keep adding to it, but time constraints and all the rest of it, as you know. So, okay, I'm going to come in with pencil now. And let's start with this bit in the middle. And of course, if you're going to use coloured pencils, what I would suggest you do is start with a little bit of white and then add in 3 or 4 colours. So starting with the lightest, then the next. And you see, you'd start as little C's, and then the last 2 colours would go mostly all the way around, and then you'd work your way back in. So it's not about doing it all at once, it's about building layers. But when we're just using pencil, we can just add a little bit around there, you see? Just around the bottom. Okay. And then on these sections, I'm just going to add some on the sides there. I'm going to add a little bit here as well. See, sort of both sides. Same here. And there. And at the top. Okay. And I'm going to just sort of bring in a row of it around the outside there. Okay. And then I'm just sort of going to come in a little bit. And I'm going to add some pencil just to some sections. So I'm going to add to it. You've got to try and keep it random, but not to all of them, you see. So I'm just going to leave the odd one. Okay. I'm going to put a bit, I like that shape there. Let's do a bit there. So you've got, the trick is not to look at what you've already done and just add a little bit because we want to try and keep it a little bit random there. So a little bit under there, see? Okay. And let's have a look then. Next little bit, I'm going to come into the ribbon. So I'm going to add a little bit of ribbon to the top there. And some to the bottom there, okay? Same along here. So underneath here, you're going to get quite a lot of shadow. So I'm going to just fill it in mostly there. You're not seeing much of that. And then along here. And of course, same at the other end. And then underneath there. And at the other end. And then of course, a bit there and a little bit there. So let's look at our flowers. Now usually we'd do a little bit either side, or you could do a little bit in the middle. So I thought today we'll go on the end, do it that way. See? It's just going to give it a different shadow effect. Alright, you see I'm just going over both tiles as though they were one part really. The nice thing about doing this, on my sample I've sort of broken it back up into two and put a gap in between, so it'd be quite interesting to tangle in and around it and see what that's going to do. So I have put that into my practice book so I can give it a go. Okay. Oh, Louise, you are one of a rare commodity then if you are a random person, because people like consistency usually, and it's quite scary to do something a little bit random. Okay, same with this one. And along, there we go. Okay, so of course we've got these little buds, so I'm going to do the same on them. And the same on them. And let's have a look down here. Same on them. And in there. Okay. So let's have a look at this as well. And usually we just put a little bit on there, but again, let's just add a little bit to the top of each one. And then see what happens there. Okay, I know we tend to shade a lot in the same way, but sometimes it works just changing it up. And of course I'm ignoring that bit around the outside there. I'm just going to work on this inside section a bit there, look. And of course if your grass is wide enough, just a little bit. See at the bottom section there, a bit on the stem, look. If you can. I know some of them you're going to be quite fine, so you'll not see much of it at all. There we go. And same here. So you're not going to get much in at all. Might not even get the tortillon in there to blend it. Okay, so I think let's move on then, and I'm going to use, oh look, the black tortillon, not the white one. See now this one's a little bit thick at the top end, so if I come in like and just use my nail file, see I'm sort of turning it as I go. One, it's cleaning it off, see, but two, it's giving it a bit of a point back, you see. Okay, so let's start in the middle and just gonna very gently soften around. So very little pressure on this. And you see I've left that gap around the outside. So I'm just gonna ease it in a little bit just to get rid of that line. That's it. And then of course, oops, through that line and then just sort of peter it out. You see, along and round. I'm going to do that on all of those sections in there. You're just wanting a little bit of shadow in there, that's all. Same on this one. Okay. I'm just working my way around. Okay. And working on these little sections, there's not a massive amount you can blend in. What you can see here, I'm just sort of softening it a little bit. And of course, if you need to rub out those original lines you used as a grid, then of course do that before you do this. But I do tend to leave mine in a lot. You know, because they're kind of light, you're not going to see them. And then of course I added that pencil dinner around the outside of that shape, along there. Okay, so onto ribbon. Again, just going to soften the edge and try not to go into the centre there if I can help it. So I've got a bit of a highlight. I am going to come back in with my white pencil, just so there we go. You can see it a little bit clearer. There you go. And then, oh look, I've missed a leaf there. Let's add the pencil in. And just, there we go. Okay. Again, you know, this one's really tiny, but it still needs a bit. There we are. And in we go with those little bits and pieces. Okay. So whilst I'm here, I'm just going to soften off and get the petals just around the top there. I'm going to do this one as well. Now imagine this with lots of different colours. You could just colour the gem. You could colour all the flowers. You could even use a bit of like a glaze on top of the gem in the middle and things like that. There's lots of opportunities for this one. So, you know, it's a nice one to start with, maybe as a sketch. And, you know, create this lovely tile and then take it on and do other things with it. Oh, thank you, Lisa. Yeah, the pencils are lovely, aren't they? I'm really pleased with them. And I do want to get them out to you. It's been a crazy week. So, of course, those of you that came know that we do make all the books and stencils here and package them and everything, even, you know, coiling books by hand. And it takes time, and if we've got extended stock, it means whilst we're packing, we've still got to be making. So it's been crazy, and we try and get it out as quick as we can. So we've been focused on that this week. Okay, see a little bit in there. All right, let's just have a look at the flowers in there. Just going to put the centres in, just the same as I've done in the middle. Same here, look. Familiar little smirk. Okay. Okay, just sort of softening that, you see, just going around. And then bringing in that soon to be famous pencil. Because I'm on a slightly coloured tile, I'm just going to add a touch of the white in them. Between the petals there, a little bit on one side of those. There we go. Same here, just going to choose one side. In the middle. Just make my way. Now if you know, with these pencils, when you're sharpening them, be careful, because remember, it's not a regular pencil, this is a chalk pencil. See, they're really soft, so you've got to be quite gentle with them. You don't need to sharpen them to a point, so don't sort of get carried away with them. Just take your time. You just have to learn to work with it, I think. That's the thing. It's very different to a regular pencil. You see, I've just added the bit there, the highlight. I see, that's a good point. Yeah, put it in the freezer. Yeah, so just be gentle with them to start with till you get to grips with it. Okay. Yeah, Lynn, another good point there. Yeah, absolutely. I think a sharpener can sometimes be very harsh, can't it? Okay, a little bit in here. And again, little bits on my use, a little bit in here. Okay, and let's have a, oh, I was going to say, let's have a look at that. Still got a little bit in there to do. There we go. So just working in this bit, I'm just going to add some along here. Now, even if you're using a regular tile, still add a bit of this in, because it will give you a little bit of a difference, because your tiles are not pure white, so you'll still get something in there. And again, just in these, look, just come in and add a touch in places. Okay, not to everyone, but just to a few of them. Just a little touch of it, little line here and there. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, so then I'm just going to come back in with my black pen, and I'm just going to go back around just this bottom section here. I mean, whether you want to do the left or the right, I'm not going to go around the whole thing. So maybe up to there. See, it's got a little bit thicker. And then I think actually I'm going to come in and just add a touch of pencil. Yeah. And I'm going to do the same on the outside line. Just a little bit up there and a little bit down here. Just so it's got a difference from one side to the other. And then again, just inside those bubbles there, just to give it a bit of depth. And then where I've got a darker ribbon, I'm just going to add a touch. Same on this side. So it's not that we redraw the whole line, we're just redrawing sections of it, just to re-emphasize that it's dark there, and then of course it makes everything else look a little bit lighter. Okay. So I know you're all quite keen to try these new pencils, and I do apologise, I have been teasing you for so long. I'm sorry about that. Well, I think I can make that up to you. I'm going to update my website this weekend, so it'll probably be tonight. So if you have a look in the morning or Sunday, be on there. But if you decide, you know what, if you want to put any orders in from tomorrow morning, let's go from all day Saturday and all day Sunday. Any orders that you place, I will actually add to your parcel a white pencil and one of my new red pencils. How's that sound? Free of charge, just so you, because I know that you've all been so supportive and you couldn't all make it here last week. So if you give me a chance to update my website, I'll do that tonight, and then anything that you order tomorrow or Sunday, I'll add in a pencil, one of my new ones, here we go, look, my new Sanntangle red pencils, and I'll add in a white pencil for you as well. How's that sound? Is that okay? Is that a plan? Oh, that's okay. All right then, so there's our tile for today. Going to add a little bit of a signature there. There we are. I'm just going to bring in my coloured one. There we go. Oh no, Len, I think you're going to do this. I think you're going to go for it. So there's our sort of black and white. Now this one I did on 2 different colour tiles. There we go, look. And I've added colour. You see, I've broken it up. It's in my practice book. So I'm going to actually tangle in between it and things, just to sort of give it a go. I've added some colour in there, you see, just to give it a bit of something different. I've also added a touch of blue on the edge of the flowers, just to bring it together. So there we go, that's it. So if you're, you're up for having a go, don't think it's got to stay on 2 tiles. Why not try it a little bit bigger and see how you go with it? So, okay, that's all done and sorted then. I'm going to go and finish my tea and sort out what else I've got to be doing today. So I hope you all have a lovely weekend and, take it steady. And I will see you here on Wednesday. Goodness me, Wednesday sounds a long way away, doesn't it? On Wednesday. But in between, of course, you've got Hermes parcels coming, you've got other orders coming, and you've got your tile swap. So lots to go on there, lots to do. So I will see you next Wednesday at 2 o'clock, all being well. So have a lovely weekend. Give this one a go. Let me know how you get on, and I'll speak to you next week again. All right, you take care, everybody. Bye.